We talked earlier about how Samuel was young and people rarely heard God's voice or sensed his guiding and abiding presence. Because Samuel's mentor Eli was also the priest, he nurtured Samuel to hear the voice of God and to sense God's guidance and presence more than anyone else since the days of Moses. Sociologists say that one of the effects of this pandemic we're going through is people feeling isolated and alone. The current COVID-19 pandemic is a huge test of ways in which we are all connected. We've learned new terms like COVID-19, social distancing, flattening the curve, compromised immune systems, so forth and so on. We've learned the need to limit groups to no more than 50, which became groups of no more than 10, and in Germany is now groups of no more than 2. As our church family works on creative ways to keep you connected, some people are still not able to connect. About 1/5 of Americans don't have a smartphone, and 1/4 don't have a computer readily available. And despite all the technological advances of the past 10 years, people still feel lonely. According to a survey by UCLA and Cigna, we are reminded that our U.S. population is now at 330 million, but in 2019, 61% of us felt alone at some point. So if this pandemic has you feeling lonely or isolated, it's not just you. You're in good company. So pray for our First City leaders as they use technology and live stream, YouTube, Facebook, FaceTime, phone tree, and email newsletters, and thank God for how creative they are. And yet, we must all remember that no matter what we do, we won't fix everything because not everyone has the technology, and even those with the latest technology can still feel quite alone. But let's go back to the priest, Eli, and how he helped Samuel notice God's presence. And let's remember the wisdom from long ago. Jesus did not say, where 2,000 or 3,000 gather, there I am. Not where 200 or 300 gather, but instead where 2 or 3 gather, there I am. And remember that the greatest of the saints were those who often were most isolated and alone, sitting in a prison cell, exiled to an island, or simply stuck somewhere where there was no one else around. But we call them saints because they knew they were never alone. In these days ahead, whether you find yourself in a group of 10 or only have a table for 2, or you have to say it's just me and the Lord, God is always, always, always with you. And in these difficult days, remember that we love you and pray for you often, and may God's presence become noticeable to you.